Not too long ago, a friend of mine asked me about my planners and my planner spreads and the pictures I've been posting on Instagram. And she said they're real pretty, but I don't even know where I would get started. So I posted a blog about picking the right planner, and people really responded to it. And one of the things that I was concerned with is people starting out who don't have a lot of money to invest in a system or in lots of washies and pens and hole punches and paper cutters and all the things I've accumulated over an amount of time to get started with this system. When I decided that I really loved the Filofax planners, I had been following them on Instagram and became obsessed with them, and decided that if I was going to make the investment, because Filofaxes are not cheap, that I wanted to make sure that it was something that I was going to use. So what I did was I started off with a less expensive planner, which was a Franklin Covey that I found in my closet from years ago when I was a reporter. And I took all the guts out of it, and I started working with just materials that I had around my house. And when that system of keeping up with things and writing things down and making my own to-do list worked, I decided to make the investment in the Filofax. And it was this one. This was my first personal size Filofax. It is my favorite piece. It is something that I use all the time currently. It works as a junk journal, but I anticipate that as soon as my prelims are done come this fall, then I am going to be returning to this for full time. Now, as you can see, this is just a binder. It's a 6-ring binder, leather material, 2 pockets, 2 pin holders. This one is very tight, I don't use it, and 2 little sleeves here for little extra things. The reason I like it is incredibly durable. The rings do not have gaps in them. Pop them open, very customizable. And without all of the pretties in it, you can see it's just a leather piece with a nice little snap on it. So that's really all you need to start off, is a ring system that has a good secure snap and very tight rings where you can't slip a piece of paper through the space where these rings connect. These can be found at Michael's, they can be found at Hobby Lobby, they can be found at any type of Office Depot store in a variety of different colors if you want to start off with this system. You can also find Filofax brand Filofaxes in just basic system gently worn on eBay for very good prices. So if you're not looking to make the investment, I totally get that. There are cheaper alternatives for it, because it is more than anything just a planning system. It does not necessarily need the brand recognition, even though this is a very high quality product, and I've had this in my possession since 2014, and at most it's got a little bit of wear from just holding things for me, and some pen marks. I realized how scuffed up it was when I took all my middle section out of it. Now, if you decide to go this route and you decide to order a Filofax on Amazon, eBay, through the company's website, if you buy one at a store, it will come with pre-packaged materials from the company. It comes with all these guts. It comes with weekly planners, and it comes with color pieces of paper. You can watch a variety of walkthrough videos for the unboxings if this is something you're interested in. There are tons of them on YouTube. So this is kind of what it looks like when you open it. It also comes with a fly sheet and sometimes a pocket on the back. So let's say that you make the purchase and you get this guts. You can use all of these materials. Lots of people will use the pre-set out weeklies, they're horizontal, that come with it, and just doll it up with washi tape and colored pens and coordinates. They often use the system that's already provided. When I was doing my coursework for my PhD, I actually bought daily pages where it was 1 day per page, and use that instead of making my own pages like I do now, because my time was incredibly limited and I like seeing everything on one page. So those are things that you can also purchase and make for yourself. You could also use these pre-made dividers. They have numbers on them. I do not care for them because I think they're ugly. And if you're going to use a system, no matter how pretty it is on the outside, it needs to be pretty on the inside too, or at least something that you enjoy looking at, in order for you to look at it every day and know what is going on. If you do not have any joy opening up your planner and seeing what's inside of it, then you're not going to look at your daily tasks, regardless of how disciplined you are. It's going to be a burden. So that is what I wanted for myself. Something that when I opened it up, it was going to make me happy. It was going to be like my own scrapbook. It was going to be something that brought me joy and made me excited for the day. So my first thing that I do when I get a Filofax is take out the guts, because I don't think they're very pretty. So let's say you do that, or you just buy a ring system on its own and you're like, I have to fill this thing up. You have lots of options. You can go to Michael's. They have pages that you can purchase for your weeklies. They have to-do lists. They have lots of cute things that are not incredibly expensive, and the same thing for Hobby Lobby. If you want to make sure it's a system that's going to work for you and you don't want to invest a lot of money, then you can fill up this Filofax in your own way with just things that you have around the house. Some people use their junk mail. Some people use their kids' art. Some people use old birthday cards, or things that they just like memorabilia that they stick around, pictures and things. It is your system. You can do whatever you want to with it. So just to get you started, what I'll show you is how to make dividers, easy dividers, with a piece of cardstock. And again, if you don't have a piece of cardstock, you can also pick up cardstock at Walmart, at Michael's, at Dollar Tree now, I think, has cardstock, and it's just a heavier paper. Usually it has a lovely design on it. Some people like the solid colors. I use those for my son's Filofaxes. They have grays and blues and things in case you're not frilly. You might not be. Again, you can pick these up for like sometimes 30 cents or cheaper. Like I said, just pick something that you think appeals to you, that goes with whatever your aesthetic is, and don't deny yourself anything. Or you're like, I don't know if that matches. Who cares? It's yours. If you like it, it's valid. So it's a little bit heavier, and that's why it makes a good divider. You just need to make sure that it's just something you want to look at. Okay, so Filofaxes, and you can look this up, generally pages are, if you have a ruler, this one's kind of faded, so you'll have to bear with me. They are 3 3/4 width by 6 3/4 width. So if you have a ruler, you can measure that out. Okay, as you can see, I drew some guidelines, and now I'm just going to use a regular pair of scissors, and I'm going to cut these. Okay, all right, so from that piece of cardstock, I was able to get 3 different section dividers. These, which are not quite the right size, can be altered, or you can turn these into quote cards. You can write something on the back, and you can use these as like your little inspirational cards, like a Project Life card that you can just punch holes in and also flip through as kind of like reminders. You can use these for to-do lists. So even though this is not the regulation size, do not feel like you have to throw these away. Hold on to them. Okay, so now these are just plain dividers. They do not have tabs. That is kind of next steps, but what this does is creates like a little barrier. You can use washies as tabs. You can use a variety of different materials to make sure. You can buy tabs. That's always an option too. Let me put this to the side. Okay, so now you need holes in it. I don't use a 6-hole punch. I just use a regular, and I got this for $1.50. It is cushioned, because the ones that are not cushioned will wear out your hand if you were doing lots of these divider pages. So I went ahead and paid the extra 50 cents for the cushioned. I've had this for several years too, and I've heard that there is a trick where you can sharpen this hole punch if you punch holes into aluminum foil. I have not had that issue, but I have found that if I try to use cardstock, or not cardstock, I'm sorry, craft paper, if I try to punch holes in craft paper, they are not as clear and pretty holes. I think it's just like the thinness of the material. I'm still working on that. But yeah, you just need a hole punch. Okay, I just pinched myself. You just need a hole punch. So if that is your question, then you might be like, okay, so where do I put these holes? I did a couple of quick and dirty tests back when I started off. If you have any guts, these make great templates. If you're looking too closely at it, it looks like these holes are a little bit smaller than a hole punch, but that's fine. You can work your way around that. So if you have any guts that came with yours, you can use this as a template. If you do not have any guts, then maybe you need some guts. Okay, so when I found a piece of cardstock, and I put it in about like eyeballed, like where I wanted it to fit, and then I closed it. Do you see? And then you can create some indentions in it. You can see them on the back. And you can use that as your template. See? And you can follow the same steps when you're putting your pages in it. So this is just some plain paper that I pulled out of my printer, and I put the guidelines on it and measured them out. Now, as you can see, this is not a perfect system. And whenever you cut up like a large number of pages, you're going to see some size differentials, but this is just to give you an idea of getting started. So you already have your template. All right, and now you have pages. Okay, so if the imperfection and the sloppiness is not appealing to you, which I totally understand, I am not very great with the steady hand and the scissors. I think that takes practice that I don't have. Invest in a paper cutter. That is something that I use. When I started off, I didn't. I just used the scissors, and I got a coupon and invested in a Fiskars slicer that was an inexpensive purchase and has definitely been worth it. I've only had to replace the blades in that once. Okay, so the idea is to fill up your Filofax and then customize your pages. Also was going to show you about tabs. Tabs are just something that kind of like sticks out on the end, and you can do a variety of things. You can cut additional cardstock. And fold it and glue it to the edge of your divider and right across it. You can even use a little bit of whiteout tape if you're starting off, this might be something that you have around the house. So you take your tab, you have folded it. See? And you just paste it to your divider. I like to use a tape runner, but you can just use Elmer's glue. And there you go. Okay, so that is kind of a quick and dirty beginner's guide. If this is something that you're interested in, I will be doing more Plan With Me videos to show some of the ways that I approach the Filofax. But in the meantime, if this is something you're interested in, don't feel like you have to have a lot of money to drop on it. It's your business, what you want to put into it. The whole point of it is that it's fun and it makes you look forward to what you have to do for the rest of your day. Okay, so if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, or you can follow me on my Instagram account to see some of the other planner things that I'm doing, as well as the other things that I do. So go to Brandy Bradley's Boots on Instagram and you can see what I've been up to. All right, thanks guys.